I told you I'm here to get it, cause baby I'm in my prime. So if you want it, come with it, nobody dimming my shine. Been a long time, homie, since I first got down. Still on top of my game, forever play to the crowd. When I'm in front of a mic and I'm in the spotlight, the Gridiron, man, we taking y'all on a flight. Always coming for the hardcore, this is what I work for. Got 'em feeling for some more, they yelling encore. Verbally, I'm bringing heat to the streets. The flame spitter, my squad, nothing but winners, and you'll never see a quitter. Cause adversity is part of the plan. Just as sure as you go, always bob your head to the jam. So turn your volume up, you can see me up on your screen. Kicking knowledge like you need it, y'all some football fiends. Bringing heat at 100, we the realest around. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby, it's going down now. Like the music buzzing in amps. When I hit the end zone, fans are rocking the stands. Cause I'm an all-be known until the break of the dawn. Not Zeke, but I'ma eat the way I'm seeing the field. It's the battle hymn, homie, gonna bang in your ear. And when they hear it, they gon' know the Kings is here. All-be known until the break of the dawn. Not Zeke, but I'ma eat the way I'm seeing the field. I'm here to get mine, never gonna dwell on the past. Always moving forward, I won't take my foot off the gas. And I'm ready for the battle and whatever may come. I fight from up in the saddle, go and beat that war drum. If you want some, get some, wicked about to get dumb. Got the crowd getting loud, everybody heads sprung. Hitting hard and coming stronger like a buck from a cage. Like Micah, I'm a lion busting out of my cage. Cause y'all ain't holding me now, I'll break your bury you down. Go and check your books, cause there ain't no play to be found. They can counter what I'm bringing, you ain't figure me out. Hitting suckers from their gut to their chest and their mouth. And now we steady climbing up to the top. You trying to get on our level, they watch your ass get dropped. Yo, it's your boy on the track, the OG double G. I'm rolling with the heavy hitter, yeah, that's Jersey the King. Let's get it. I told you I'm here to get it, cause baby I'm in my prime. So if you want it, come with it, no.
Welcome. Happy Saturday to you all. This is the Gridiron Live on Fuel Sports Network, and I am your host, Kevin JTK Womble, one of them. Unfortunately, Gabe is not here today. He had to work and still recovering from COVID. So hearing that he's back at work is a good thing, and hopefully that means he is fully recovered from work. If you didn't catch the latest episode of Gridiron Nation on Spotify and YouTube, make sure you do so. So, shout out to Gabe. You know we love you, brother. But filling in for him today, good friend of mine, future Fuel Sports Network football analyst. Wink, wink. Hint, hint. Head honchos. Just saying. My guy, Anthony Mizrani. What's going on, brother? How you feeling today, man?
Oh, living the dream. Another wonderful Saturday. Another wonderful Saturday.
There you go. My God. That was my little side hug type of, dapping you up and everything. What's going on, man? Welcome into the show. Thank you for being here, helping me host today. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We're going to be talking some UFL news. There have been, of course, some in UFL to NFL signings, as well as the showcases that are coming up here in the next month or so. So we talking that. We got some IFL news. The championship game is set. We have our two teams playing against each other, and we will be getting into who those teams are. We already know who one is. We'll find out who that other team is on the West. So that's still to come, as well as, fan mail, of course, and the latest in NFL. We got some training camp injury news. There was some injuries this week as well. There was a big signing this week, and there's a little controversy, could we say? Yeah. little controversy. Not so much controversy, but some people are mad. We were just talking about this before we went on the air. So I
It
mean,
definitely
we'll
some
get in it.
people.
Yeah, it turns some people the wrong way, and they feel some type of way about this signing. So we'll get in that as well. So you already know, man. This is how we do it here at the Gridiron. If you haven't already, go ahead and download the Fuel Sports Network channel on your Roku and Amazon TV and devices as well. Check us out on fuelsportsnetwork.com, and you can even watch the show live right now on fuelsportsnetwork.com. Now, let's get into our first bit of news, which of course is the latest UFL to NFL signings. Now, we know how we all feel about these spring players getting into the league and hoping that they make a true impact and not be just a camp body. And if they are going to just be a camp body, and we hope that it helps them for next season in the UFL, because at the end of the day, if they are just a camp body, they are going to eventually be released before the end of the preseason or by the end of the preseason, heading into the start of the season. So we know we're not going to see these players on NFL rosters if they don't be more than just a camp body. So here's an updated look. Well, before we go into the updated look, here are the most recent signings from this past week. We have offensive guard from Alabama, or from the Birmingham Stallions. I don't know why I want to keep calling them Alabama, but from the Birmingham Stallions, Matt Caskey is being signed by the Los Angeles Rams. And as an O lineman, I think these O linemen have a good shot at being on a roster. I'm gonna just say that. I feel these guys have a shot at being on a roster. And we also have Alec Lindstrom, which I'm very familiar with, offensive lineman for the Memphis Showboats, also going to the Los Angeles Rams. So it looks like to me, Goomba Anthony, excuse me, that LA is looking to beef up that offensive line, and they believe they may have seen some talent from these spring teams. What are your thoughts on these two signings here? By
Well,
the
they need guard help anyways. I mean, their interior line is subpar, and then always having depth on the offensive line because injuries happen. That seems to be
yes,
an issue with every team. So it makes sense to just get depth. And worst case scenarios, they're either A on a practice squad or they don't make the roster. So
right,
there's two.
and
But I
and
think it
in truth, before you go on, in truth, don't some players who are on the practice squad be there in case those injuries you were just speaking of happen?
yeah. I mean, worst case scenarios, like I said, they either will make the practice squad or they'll get cut. I mean, some of them might actually have a chance to make the active roster and be on the 53-man squad every Sunday or Thursday, depending on when they're playing. But I feel like some of these players might be practice squad players, or some of them will get cut. The offensive linemen have the
Definitely,
best chance of making a actual roster, though.
definitely, and even second or third on the depth chart.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely,
same thing with defensive linemen. I feel like they have a better chance of making it out of more of the skill position players do, just because
right.
rotation and depth is needed on the line, both sides of the ball.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. And skill position players, it's going to be hard for it's they got to go in there and really work their butts off. You know what I mean? And really make a statement to receive a actual spot on the roster because they're going up against elite talent. Considering, and don't get me wrong, there's some elite talent in the spring leagues that have been developed because of these spring leagues, and we've seen it already. They're in the league now. They're under contract. They've played a season or two. You know what I mean, in the league since they've been on a spring team league or has been in on a league, been in a game in the league from a spring team. Like USFL, the XFL before the UFL. You know what I mean? So we have to look at everything, you know what I mean, when it comes to
Yes.
these players getting signed. Like you said, the offensive line and defensive line have better chances than the skill position players to actually make a 53-man roster or a practice squad roster because of the need and depth and, like you say, the injuries that do happen on the offensive line and defensive line side. So that's that. Like I said, those are good signings to me. I do like those signings there. Now next we have kicker, or excuse me, long snapper Rex Sonahara from the Brahmas, and also Zach Morton from the Brahmas, outside linebacker, respectively, going to Cleveland Browns and the Green Bay Packers. What do you think of these two signings? I'm cool with the long snapper signing. I think that's a need for Cleveland, and I think that's why they went and got him. And I think they saw something in him that would benefit their team, and he may possibly have a opportunity to make the 53-man roster as well. Zach Morton, on the other hand, I'm not sure how I feel about that signing, only because we seen a good bit of talent at the offense or the outside linebacker position for Green Bay last season. So I'm thinking that move may more have been a depth move, camp body move, or practice squad move.
Right.
In case of injury.
Where I feel like he's going to make the roster. Like more often than not, he's got one job, and that's why he just smart move. Smart move by Cleveland. Again, the outside linebacker, I'm looking at that. I'm like, it's depth. If he makes the roster at all,
right?
He's probably competing for third, fourth spot on the depth chart, practice squad. So he has to. I mean, we'll see how well he performs.
Right. Gotcha. All right. Next we. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, other teams look at him and they sign him. That'd be my other input.
Yep, especially if he's impressive. You know what I mean? At that outside linebacker position for Green Bay, and they do decide to waive him, but another team sees, you know what I mean? Green Bay's like, hey, we got an outside linebacker that we're about to waive, and we know we need the depth, or you may need a roster spot. So here you go.
Right.
We think he will be a good fit for your team, type of deal.
So other scenario.
Exactly. Also, guys, we have linebacker Mike Rose, and I know you Battlehawk fans are definitely familiar with Mike Rose. He is getting signed to the New Orleans Saints. Then we have Armani Taylor Priole from the Birmingham Stallions going to the Washington Commanders, and he plays tackle. So he does have a better chance of making the squad. Now, for the Saints at linebacker position, I think Mike Rose is a good fit. I think Mike Rose does have a real chance of making this 53-man roster for the Saints because they need help at that linebacker position. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike Rose is somewhat of a floating linebacker, meaning he can play Will, Mike, and Sam, right outside, left outside, and middle linebacker. So I think he has a good chance of making that New Orleans Saints roster at any of the linebacker spots, whether it's outside, middle linebacker, you know what I mean, on either outside on either side, in my opinion.
I think he's going to fit fine Dennis Allen's defense, because they don't have a good no one. He pretty much took my take on that. The tackle on the Washington's offensive line was horrendous last year. You drafted Jaden Daniels. You're going to need to get, whether he plays tackle, guard, something that's going to get you more depth, a player that's more likely going to make your 53-man roster, possibly be a star. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But with Washington, as bad as they were last year, he has a chance. He's definitely got a chance of making the 53-man roster.
Yes, he does. Real quick, guys.
Breaking news.
Guess what? The women's soccer team, women's national soccer team for the U.S. just beat Brazil 1-0 to win gold. Just so you guys know. Congratulations to the women. They are the truth. Our men's team need to do better. But I just wanted to point that out, break that breaking news to you guys. If you did not see or aren't aware, But yeah,
Hey, man,
America,
congratulations.
we
So,
we we doing our thing, and if I'm not mistaken, we are also leading the gold medal count now. So yeah, yeah, we doing that. We doing a thing. We doing our thing. But yeah, back to these UFL signings. We're actually gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna get finish off these UFL signings and then get into some IFL news and NFL news, guys. So we'll be right back after these messages. Don't you go nowhere. And make sure, again, if you don't haven't already, download the Fuel Sports Network channel or app on your Amazon and Roku TV and devices. And make sure you check us out on fuelsportsnetwork.com. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Gridiron Live on Fuel Sports Network. I am your co-host, Kevin Jersey the King Womble. Again, Gabe's not here today at work, and like I said, he was recovering from COVID. So shout out to my boy OG Double G, Gabe Garcia. You already know, filling in for him today. My guy to my left, Anthony Mazzoni, aka Dagoomba, the one and only. You know what I mean? The football analyst, future football analyst of Fuel Sports Network. You guys getting the hint, the wink. I'm just saying. Before we went to break, we were talking about the recent UFL to NFL signings. So let's jump back in it. We left off on Mike Rose, and then but here we are with some big names now. Um, Going to the 49ers, and I know why. John Trey Kirkland, wide receiver for the Brahmas, is going to the 49ers. He's a dynamic force. He was with the New Orleans Saints actually last season. After the XFL season, he got picked up by the New Orleans Saints and actually did pretty decent. Almost almost made the roster. He did really well in one preseason game and then didn't do so well in the rest. So I think that's why he didn't really actually make the final roster. And hit, you're a fool. You're a fool. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. But we love you. And Jonathan Garvin, defensive end from the Birmingham Stallions, also going to San Francisco 49ers. And that's an interesting pickup for me because they have Chase and Bosa in them. I don't, they have Chase and Nick. You know what I mean? I don't. What is your thought on that? Before you get to John Shea Kirkland, what is your thought on that Jonathan Garvin defensive end to San Francisco 49ers pickup?
Okay,
What are your thoughts on that?
that's actually not bad because there's been numerous reports that Chase Young takes off plays. He doesn't have a high motor. So if that kid does, you get more of a complete 3-down lineman, and that gives you value with Chase Young. Since they're not paying him anything anyways, Washington still has to pay Chase Young money that they owe. So,
Gotcha.
I mean, smart move. It also gives them depth on the defensive line, which is something they could use since Shanahan likes to rotate players in and out. It works their system. So I don't really see it as a bad sign or a bad pickup. In case scenario, he doesn't make the roster, but I see he definitely. I don't think he'll make the active roster right away. He'll probably be a practice squad player, but I think due to injury and stuff like that, he'll definitely make some sort of impact throughout the season.
And when you bring that up about Chase Young, I definitely agree. They do say his motor isn't high motor. You know what I mean? He's not
It's
back
not
through the ceiling.
a pass rush. He doesn't go as hard. He doesn't play. He's not as committed to the run game, and that's the reason why Shanahan didn't win as much in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl run. Like, it has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with work ethic and the commit to playing all 3 downs to get to the pass rush.
Exactly, because if you don't stop the run, barely going to get passes. If they're running all over you, there's no need to pass the ball at that moment in time. You know what I mean? They can sit there and keep picking up first down every 2 downs.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you just rotate Chase Young. All you do is rotate Chase Young and 3rd and long. At that point, it's just like you're paying him all that money just to be a 1-down player. It's like, no.
Yep. And now with John Shea Kirkland,
this one makes no. We'll go on to this actually because this is the one I really want to talk about. Anyway.
See, now with John Shea Kirkland, it does make sense because of the whole Brandon Ayuk situation. Plus, how good John Shea Kirkland actually is. Like he's a good wide receiver, man. He's a good route runner. He's a good possession catcher. He can make the right cuts, the whole 9.
He's got speed. So again, Shanahan's system. Given the fact that Brandon Ayuk they haven't finalized the trade, but it's almost there from what I understand. They're working out numbers of this, from my understanding. Don't quote me on that. I'm just from what I've heard.
Numbers and players, from what I'm understanding.
Basically, they work out the players, the numbers.
They don't want to sit here and give up a player like Brandon Ayuk, who's a wide receiver 1, and not get nothing in return but draft picks. You know what I mean? They want.
I think they're also trying to figure out what they want to pay Ayuk as well.
Mm-hmm.
So finalizing
it. I think he's wanting 30 plus.
He's going to Pittsburgh. Like, let's just be honest about that. And they're going to be scared.
I think so.
I honestly think Fields is going to be a monster there. But getting back to the signing here, this gives them another receiver who could either be used as a motion player, a gadget player, a kick returner, whether that's kick returns or punt returns. And in Shanahan's offense, every receiver gets the shine. Like, especially Debo being covered, Kittle being covered, Ayuk being gone, this gives you a chance to shine.
Open it up.
And especially when McCaffrey's healthy, he's the best player on their offense and everybody focuses on him. So it makes it a lot easier because of all the chess pieces they have in that system. That's why I think Brock Purdy did so well. But this signing right here makes a lot of sense because they are.
Oh my goodness! Someone else who agrees with me. Brock Purdy is not all that damn great. He's not. He was in the right system and he fit it. That's it. He could run Shanahan's system. That's it. Why do you think Garoppolo and Lance got the quarterback? They couldn't run his system right.
Okay, he's not as high on a pedestal as he should be. If you watch him at Iowa State, that kid balled out. Okay,
I'm not saying
Now,
he didn't.
San
What I'm
Francisco,
saying is,
he has taken full advantage of the weapons around him, and Shanahan has put him in the best place to succeed.
but when you needed him to step up, like when they were missing Christian McCaffrey, he didn't get the job done. We seen that, and that was a huge back step for his game, in my opinion, and how they're boasting him up. Because if you have to utilize, if you can only utilize if you have to be at full strength for you to be able to play at your best, and you can't be down a piece and still play at your best, you know what I mean?
Here's
It's a major.
him
Okay, go ahead.
and Tua, same player basically. They're both elite game managers with a healthy squad. They're going to put up numbers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not either one of them, okay? Because of the systems that they are in, the coaches that they have, they are given the best chance to succeed with the weapons around them. Now,
Yeah,
that also, there's double edge on that one. Because even with healthy weapons, if they have a bad game, the team around them might not always be good enough to carry. The difference in San Francisco, though, is they have a top line defense.
there you go.
So even if Brock Purdy
And
has
the
a
best
somewhat
offensive lineman.
yes. So even if Brock Purdy has a bad game, their defense is good enough to carry them to a victory. Miami, on the other hand, isn't. But we're not going to touch on that. No, not yet. But
especially with them giving up Christian Watkins to the Raiders. Like,
see, the Raiders are going to be scary up front with Crosby and the kid they had drafted last. Oh God!
And they are loving their coach. Their coach. They're going to play their asses off for this man. It's going to be scary. I'm going to have a lot to cover on the Jersey King show. I promise you that.
Justin Herbert's injury, the way it is, if it lingers all year, the Raiders are the second best team in the West. Like, if we're going to talk about it real quick, like, Kansas City is still the best team because Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, their defense is still good with
Pachenko,
with Jones, Carl Black is coming on. Like, that team is still the best team in the AFC. Until somebody dethrones them, they're still the best team in the AFC. But definitely. I like what Vegas is doing. Adrian O'Connell is actually a really good quarterback.
But Gardner Minshew is battling him for number one. It's crazy.
Either way, like they got some way to be able to rally that offense.
Yep.
You had to get Adams. Okay, yeah,
we gotta move on. Yeah, we gotta move on. But y'all know how we feel. You know what I mean? Y'all know how we feel. So on to the next. We have, and these are big signings. UFL Defensive Player of the Year, Breland Speaks, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Whoa! What? Oh! What? Oh! And then Carlos Davis joining his brother in the NFL and going to the Bengals, defensive tackle from the Birmingham Stallions. And if you guys didn't know, Michigan Panthers, Breland Speaks. But that's huge. These are big signings. Like for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they need help on that defensive line. So picking up the reigning defensive player of the year, if he does very well, he's making that roster. If he does well, if he plays if he shows out even more and plays even better than what he did in this UFL season,
well,
he's definitely making the roster.
Well, outside Josh Allen, who they have as a pass rusher, like
he's definitely making the roster. Like I said, he has a really, really high chance of making the roster. All he got to do is go in there and perform his ass off. That's all he got to do. That's it.
I mean, again, it makes sense. I mean, name another pass rusher in Jacksonville besides Josh Allen. Oh, wait.
Exactly. Enough said. That's it. Enough said.
And Cincinnati, they need interior pressure anyways. So that was
picking up Carlos Davis is very smart. I agree. Very smart. So that's perfect signing. Now here's a signing of the week, in my opinion. One of them. Bang bang. Your boy, the king of spring, my guy, Luis Perez, is going to the LA Chargers. He's getting his chance, man. He's getting his chance. It's over, man. It's over, man. Justin Herbert, you hurt, man. Justin Hertbert, you're Hertbert. Guess what? Luis is coming to take over, my friend. And then Delonte Hood did very well at the defensive back position, cornerback position for Arlington. He's going to the Cardinals, which I think is a good signing for them, in my opinion, because they do need defensive back help for sure. Now, how do you feel about this Luis Perez signing to the Chargers?
Okay, well, Luis Perez he'll fit fine with Harbaugh's system because he doesn't really need to do a lot other. Right now, he's going to be competing for quarterback number 2. Like he's going to he's going to be competing for the snaps in the preseason because Justin Herbert's hurt. They're not going to touch him, but he's not going to do anything.
Right.
This is a bad backup plan in case Herbert goes down long term. They're going to win some games with him. I think they could definitely win 5-6 games with Luis Perez. Their roster in whole, though, is kind of gutted. I don't know how the receiving core is going to be. They don't have Austin Eckler anymore. I know Harbaugh's worked magic in the past, but when he took over that Niners team back in the day, that team actually had talent. This one is Justin Herbert and a bunch of nobodies. So
because you don't have Keenan Allen no more.
And, you don't have Keenan. He's gone.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be rough either way. But I like the signing because he's gonna give you value as a good backup. And then with Arizona, as you stated, they need secondary. So
definitely,
again, signing, he's gonna battle for a spot on the roster. So both those signings were really smart and actually made sense.
Definitely. All right, you guys. I know we're going to get into some IFL news, but we got to take another commercial break. We got to pay the bills. You feel me? Just give a shout out to the sponsors. Show some love. You dig? Make sure you guys use all the codes you see in our commercials for our sponsors and get your 15 or 10% off on merch and products. Shout out to W Energy Powder, Just Meat Jerky, Retro Royals, True Victory Apparel, and McDougal Bats. This is the Gridiron live on Fuel Sports Network. Again, if you haven't already, check us out on fuelsportsnetwork.com. You can watch the shows live when they're airing. Also, check out our audio shows online at fuelsportsnetwork.com and download us at Roku and Amazon Fire Stick, Roku TV, Roku Stick, Amazon Fire Stick, Amazon TV. And make sure you guys just show the love. Just keep supporting Fuel. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. It's going to be quick. Promise. It's going to be quick. We'll be right back, y'all. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back to the Gridiron live on Fuel Sports Network. Told you it's going to be a quick commercial break. Told you. We are back right here on Fuel Sports Network. This is the Gridiron with Anthony Mazzoni and myself, Kevin JTK Womble. Now, the IFL championship game is set, and we're going to recap the playoffs really quickly. We have had two great conference championship games. Got to give credit to where credit is due. In the East, we had Massachusetts versus Green Bay. Massachusetts with the upsetting Green Bay, who were the favorites. They were the number one seed in the IFL going into the playoffs. So they were definitely the favorite, and that upset was killer. It was crazy. It was awesome to see, and I think this is going to be a great national IFL national championship game. Now, when it comes to the West, that upset by San Diego was crazy. That upset by Arizona was crazy. But you also have the Arizona Rattlers making it all the way to the conference championship game. And not only that, look at this score. They blew out San Diego when San Diego had that upset against Bay Area, who was number one in the West. And they literally just blew them out the water. And this is what we have. Your IFL Western Conference champions are the Arizona Rattlers. Period. So that sets up what we have, man. National championship game is set on August 17th, 2024, right here in Henderson, Nevada, at the Lee's Family Forum Arena. We got the Massachusetts Pirates from the East taking on the Arizona Rattlers in the West. It's going to be a lit game. I'm excited for it. And again, even though the Nighthawks didn't make it, if you want to save money on your tickets for the national championship game, you can do so using the team code. So if you're a Nighthawks fan, use your Nighthawks code. Rattlers fan, Massachusetts fan, Pirates fan, you know, the whole nine. Use your team code and save on the IFL championship tickets. If they're going quick, you got to hurry up and get them because you already know this game's going to be packed. So make sure you guys tune in. Now, Goomba, how do you feel about this upset and how big of a blowout it was?
Well, Arizona beat the brakes off San Diego. It's just, it's just like that. You think this is probably going to be extremely high scoring. Then both teams just they they beat they beat them both. Like
Yeah.
that did the Green Bay and their championship game and what Arizona did San Diego is just.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
I think the same thing. I honestly I could see it going like 55-58 either.
Definitely. I see, or even higher. These teams are known to put up 60 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could see it going that route.
I mean, the game can go for 100 plus combined.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I'm just excited. You got to echo, bro. But honestly, I'm excited for this game. I think that this national championship game was unexpected. If you weren't a Massachusetts Pirates fan, you would not be expecting your team to, make it into the national championship game. And now they're here. If you weren't an Arizona Rattlers fan, you wouldn't have thought with their record that they would have made it to the national championship game. And now these two teams are sitting here on the cusp of playing in the 2024 IFL national championship game. And I think it's going to be a really good game. Like we said, we both think it's going to be a high scoring game. So it's going to be interesting to see if it's a total opposite. It's a low scoring game because these defenses have stepped up. We've seen blowouts by both of these teams to the favorites. So I think, it could go either way. I think it could be either a high scoring game or it's going to be a low scoring game, depending on the defense, and it's going to be a close game when it's all said and done. And that's just my personal opinion. So, but make sure you guys go and get your tickets. They are on sale now for the national championship game. If you are going to be in Henderson or traveling to Henderson for that game, make sure you get your tickets and save using your team code. There you go. Um, Also, guys, if you aren't, if you haven't been following the show and you're new to the show, we do talk IFL. We talk IFL all the time now. We also talk NFL. We also talk UFL. But there is a new league coming out, and I believe starting next week or the week after, I will start covering this league. It is called the IFA. If you haven't been paying attention to Fuel Sports Network, we've had two Fuel Sports Network special presentations of the Baltimore Lightning coach, as well as another presentation with San Antonio coach and the Mexican team's coach. So if you guys go back and watch those special presentations, you'll see and be able to see what's going on with this IFA, International Football Alliance. Now, just to give you guys a heads up, it's a league with a mixture of teams from the United States and Mexico. So it's going to be interesting to talk about, and I'm excited to start getting into that league because here at the Gridiron, what do we talk about, y'all? Football. Oh, and don't forget the college season is starting in about a month. So we got a lot of football to cover. But speaking of the IFA is set to launch in June of next year. So we'll be talking about them periodically through the coming months leading up to next season, the inaugural season, and kickoff, of course. And we'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on in the IFA, the International Football Alliance. You can check out the website, internationalfootballalliance.com. All you gotta do is just search IFA.com. It may come up that way, but I believe it's internationalfootballalliance.com. So, guys, check it out, man. It's gonna be an interesting league to watch. It's gonna be interesting to see this league launched in the summertime too, being that it's hot both in the United States and certain places as well as in Mexico, every damn where. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this is done. It's gonna be interesting to see if these teams are gonna be playing in domed arenas with air conditioning and stuff like that. So we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see how this is all going to work. But we will keep you updated here on the Gridiron every Saturday leading up into the kickoff of the season. So make sure you guys stay tuned. All right. Now, we're going to go to another break here in a couple minutes. But before we do, we're going to talk some NFL and jump into some fan mail. But actually, you know what? Let's jump into some NFL right now because I do want to take some time to do fan mail today because I'm very interested in these questions. But there were some injuries this week, training camp, and one of them was really, really big for a specific team looking to bounce back. According to Adam Schefter via X, Adam Schefter reported that Falcons wide receiver Rondell Moore suffered a season-ending injury to his knee. This was reported on, as you can see, August 8th of 2024. This is huge. Me and Anthony were talking about this before the show. This is a big loss. This really, really is. This is a big loss to the Falcons because Rondell Moore was going to be one of those targets for Kirk Cousins that was going to help push that offense possibly to the next level, back to their winning ways from back in the day, Matt Ryan days and stuff like that. And I think this is a key loss for them. I mean, they do still have a decent wide receiver core. They're young. I mean, they did lose Cordero Patterson, which was huge for them because you could line him up in the backfield as a running back and line him up and as a wide receiver. So that's a huge loss to them. And with both of those wide receivers, losing Cordero Patterson and now losing Rondell Moore for the season. What are your thoughts on this, man? We've talked about, we got a little bit into it before the show, but now I want you to be able to dive into it. What are your thoughts on this?
So Rondell Rondell Moore going down is their deep threat being gone. Like, because Drake London's more of the chain mover. I mean, they do have hits and they can do a lot with him, but Rondell Moore was signed to be the guy to take it over the top as the defense man.
Yeah.
And losing him to a knee injury definitely does not help. Now, I mean, granted, it happened early enough in the camp in the preseason where they can go and look at some of these undrafted free agents, possibly even trade for a younger guy that's not going to cost them a lot. So it's, I mean, they had the opportunity to do something still, but
Right.
there's a reason why they signed him. There's a reason why they went after him, and losing him, it's going to hurt. I mean,
They may have to look to the UFL.
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's early enough into the preseason to where they don't have to worry about it. So there is that.
Well, real quick, because I didn't even put this up. Here are the latest UFL to NFL signings. And if we look at the Falcons squad, if I'm not mistaken, they did not pick up a wide receiver yet.
Well,
They picked
yeah,
up a tight end in Jordan Thomas, but they have not picked up a wide receiver from the UFL. So I think that may be a route that they go. They got an offensive lineman. I think that's an offensive tackle or 3 defensive tackles. But no, I think that's an offensive tackle and then 2 defensive tackles and a tight end. So I think they may hit that UFL market, you know what I mean, and grab a wide receiver with losing him. I mean, there's still some good wide receivers in the UFL that have not been signed, or picked up at all. So I think there's a good chance for Arizona to go after a uh, a wide receiver in the UFL, or like you said, sign a wide receiver who's currently in free agency. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now, this next injury, whew, 49er fans, this isn't really that big of a deal, in my opinion. I honestly don't think it's too big of a deal, but him missing a couple weeks in practice, I think is a big deal. Because if that means he's going to miss the entire preseason, if he's unlikely to participate in this entire preseason and he's not ready to go for the season opener, I think that kind of puts a damper in what San Francisco wants to do starting off the season.
Mhm. If the injury lingers long term throughout the season, then I see it being a problem. But him missing a couple weeks in practice, I mean,
In the entire preseason. I'm saying if he does not recover fully by the time the season starts.
it, I think they'd be fine the first few weeks of the season. It'd be long term. If the injury like were to linger long term, that's when they would have the most issue with it, because that's especially late in the season when they need him.
Yeah,
When it would be
definitely.
but early in the season, if he's not 100% early and they're not giving him a lot of touches just to give him rest, I think they'll be fine. Especially if it's depending on how their first 4 weeks set up, they'll be okay.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. I agree. Now, this is big. Josh Downs of the Colts, wide receiver. This is via Jeremy Fowler, via X. He reported 2 days ago that Josh Downs suffered a high ankle sprain during practice. The outlook right now is that Downs can miss about a month, but the Colts are sorting that out. A key piece to the Colts offense goes down. And man, oh man. Mm. Anthony Richardson's coming back, and they lose a key piece at wide receiver. Now, this could be one of those injuries again, like you were just talking about with Christian McCaffrey, and also what we were talking about last week with Justin Herbert. This could be one of those injuries that lingers throughout the season.
especially a high ankle sprain. Like we
What
see,
prevents him from coming back after that month and being effective and getting some, legitimate touches and playing time.
especially given the position he plays, where he has to off his ankles. So yeah, a high ankle sprain that's something that's going to linger all year. If he wasn't so reliant on it, it probably wouldn't hinder him as
Right.
but given he's a receiver, yeah, that's going to hurt him on cuts, breaks.
Yes, sir. You're not lying on that part. Yeah, we don't want, and they don't want to bring him back too fast to where he goes to make a cut, and then
The
even
high,
worse happens.
the high ankle sprain turns into a broken ankle. Yeah, so
Right. You know what I mean? So they gotta watch that and monitor that as well. So him being out a month, that's huge for them. That means the whole preseason, possibly the first game of the season. You know what I mean? Well, the first two games of the season, being that we're in. Well, no, maybe just the first game of the season because the season doesn't start till I believe September 7th.
yeah,
So
probably
we're 3 days past the 7th. So probably the second week he will be looking to make his season debut. But that's even if he's ready to go,
yeah.
So we got to see. We just got to wait and see. Now, what we've all been waiting to talk about. There was a recent signing this week, and it made a specific player the highest paid player at his position. And there was a lot of people that were rubbed the wrong way because of personal things. And you'll get what I mean after we break this news to you guys. All right, so if you haven't been following or paying attention, I know all Chiefs fans have. The Kansas City Chiefs are signing standout kicker Harrison Butker to a 4-year, $25.6 million extension that includes $17.75 million guaranteed per sources. This deal ties Butker to the Kansas City Chiefs. I was about to call them the KFC. Through the 2028 season, Buckner represented and negotiated the deal himself. So he didn't even use an agent. He's over there trying to do some Kirk Cousin things, but without the agent. But that I think made him the highest paid kicker right now in the league, or one of the highest paid kickers in the league. And there are some people who do not like that decision because his personal views on the different things in our country and in the world and stuff. So here's my thing with that. His personal views has nothing to do with his kicking. It has nothing to do with his game. What he does on that field is something totally different to what he speaks about off the field. So if people feel a certain type of way about what he speaks about off the field, that's perfectly fine. But you can't be mad that he's got paid for his talent. You got to remember this young man has a talent. He has bailed the Chiefs out in numerous games and situations where they needed to go up or they needed a win, and he bailed them out. So he's getting paid for his talent and what he has accomplished with this team. What he has spoken out about personally has nothing to do with his leg. Am I right?
No, I mean, he's getting paid. He's getting an increase in a bonus because he's good at his job. Okay. And being good at your job and your political views or your views on the world in general shouldn't have anything to do with that. Okay, I can see why people don't agree with what he had to say. To totally respect their opinion on it, but at the same time, this is football. But can we just keep it like separate, football and personal views? Like if he was running for politician, totally different. Would totally agree with everybody for condemning him on what he was saying. But
Right.
he paid an NFL contract. Can we just
Leave it at
keep
that.
it?
Exactly. Leave it at that. It's for what he does for a living, not what he's saying off the
Yeah,
field when he's not doing his job.
it's not like the Chiefs are like, oh, we're paying him because of what he said during his graduation speech. No, they're paying him because of his ability to kick a football and be clutch about it.
Exactly. That's the bread and butter right there. Clutch. Period. Now, let's get into my favorite part of the show before we get up out of here. Y'all know what time it is.
Mail time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. My boy Hit sent in questions yesterday. What made you all so passionate about football? Was it a warm, sweet memory you have with the sport, or is it when or if you played the sport that sparked your interest? Anthony?
Well, I mean, my neighbor, when I was a kid, he's the one guy that got me interested in football. So, and then I guess playing Madden a lot kind of did the same thing. But I mean, I enjoy football because it's something I can actually watch. It's not that long a season like baseball, the NBA, but it's also something that somebody that I was like closer with my dad showed me. So that's why I think why I watch it so much and so passionate about it.
Gotcha. For me personally, I actually played football in junior high. I loved the sport of football. My grandmother took me to a Dallas Cowboys game versus the New York Giants when I was a kid, and that's how I became a Cowboys fan. But that's how I fell in love with football as well. And then playing the sport made me fall in love with it even more. I just wish I could have pursued it more and made a career out of it because I was good. I played wide receiver, I played running back, I played defensive back. I was even able to play linebacker a little bit. I wasn't the biggest one, but I was able to do it. And I played quarterback sometime. So I was able to do it all. You know what I mean? And even in basketball, I played all 5 positions. And as a 5'10" kid, once I hit my final, growth, it was 5'10". I ain't getting no taller. But I have the jump. I have the hopping ability, hops ability and jumping ability to make up for what I lack in height. So, I was just all around athlete. But football, it was just the love of the game, seeing it in person for the first time as a kid and then playing it, starting in junior high and up to high school, man. So that's what it was for me. All right, off topic question. He says, what type of game would you make if you had the money and resources to do it? Man, I ain't gonna lie, it would be something that's open world. Regardless of what type of game it is, it would be open world. I mean, except for like a sports game, but even a sports game, like if you do like, if I were to do like a take on my career, I'd have a place where you can go play online and you're able to freely move around and do different things in that city or whatever the case, you know what I mean? But like if I was to make like a single player game, it'll be an open world game, like maybe even an open world horror game or action adventure game or survivor game, you know what I mean? Like a survivor horror game, but it'll be open world definitely to where you can roam freely and do different activities and stuff like that for sure for me.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, pretty much kind of said the same things I would have done. So, I mean, open world game. That's pretty much what I was going to go with. So,
Because it's the best games out, man. Open world games are the best games out, aside from sports games. I mean, that's my opinion.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
So, there you have it, Hit. Thank you again for the questions, brother. As always, we appreciate it and love you for it. And y'all know how we do it, man, around here. It's always mail time, baby. Send in your fan mail questions. Yeah, and you can send in your fan mail questions to the show at the Gridiron Podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you go and check out everything evolving around or that involves fuel. Make sure you follow all Fuel's socials. Subscribe at YouTube at Fuel Sports Network. Follow on Facebook at Fuel Sports Network. On X at Fuel Sports Net, all lowercase, and on IG, Instagram at Fuel Sports Network. Make sure you go and show my boy Gabe some love as well. And follow Gabe right there on the bottom where you see the tickers floating. You can follow him on all his socials as well. And you can email your fan mail questions to Gridiron Nation Show at gridironnationpodcast@gmail.com. Now, Anthony, again, as always, I want to thank you, brother, for pulling up, filling in for Gabe, and showing that love, man, and helping me out today. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful for you. Definitely. You're, my guy. Got to show you that love. And let them know where they can find you before we get up out of here, man. As always.
So you can find me at the Goomba, at the Goomba on YouTube. And then, the TikTok would be stories to tell after midnight, 12, and how you want to spell it. And then Jersey and I are going to be working on some T-shirts and some other stuff of that nature. We're just working out logos and final details, but we'll get the website to you here soon.
Yes, sir.
So that as well.
There you go. There you guys have it. And you can always catch them here periodically on the Gridiron right here live on Fuel Sports Network. Make sure you download the Fuel Sports Network channel on Roku and Amazon TV and devices. And check us out on fuelsportsnetwork.com. Check out the website. Go check out our news articles. Check out our audio podcast shows as well. And you can watch anything that's live on Fuel right there on the website as well. So make sure you guys are going to show that love and support that you always do to Fuel. And again, sending your fan mail questions for next week's show. We will be back at it. And I can't wait. I love you guys. It's preseason. Make sure you guys tune into the games. We have preseason games today. Some are going on right now. It's going down. I love you guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the show. As always, be water, my friends, because when life gets you down, you can't do nothing else but go with the flow. So be water, my friends. I love you guys. We will see you all next week. Peace out.